Divorces are painful, and as a psychotherapist, when I see a couple in my office who are in the process of a divorce or they've already gotten divorces and I see one of the partners, I think it's important that people know or are educated about what happens with a divorce. A divorce doesn't just happen. We all act surprised when we hear a couple got divorced, but what we don't understand is that divorce was in the making 7 to 5 years. Either way, it's a long time. And way before the physical divorce, one partner at least emotionally divorces their partner. And so you might ask, well, what is an emotional divorce? An emotional divorce is exactly what it sounds like. You basically cut off emotions from your spouse. You stop telling them. They stop being the first person you talk to. You stop telling them when you're feeling sad or when you're feeling overwhelmed or you're feeling stressed. You stop wanting to share what's happened to you throughout the day with them. You stop being able to share a vision together. All these things that take so much emotionality, and the intimacy, the sexual part, usually begins stopping. It begins ceasing, and there's no talk about it. Rather than them talking about it, or maybe the one partner complains about it, the other one gets defensive or pushes it under the rug. Actually, there's just no resolution. And when you get more and more of those emotional parts of your relationship that are not resolved, that are not talked about, that rather than get defensive, one partner will say, I see what you mean. I'm listening to you. I'm present with you. Let's work this out. That ceases. What's interesting is when one partner who walks away, who is the one who's walked away, who basically was so in love with their partner that they realized their partner was no longer really emotionally attached to the relationship. Their partner was no longer giving effort. There was no symbolism that this marriage or this relationship mattered to them. Then that partner will walk away, or they'll say, I want a divorce. And the other partner acts surprised. They totally don't understand why. And this is real. They're not lying. They just have been so separated, so into themselves, their own career, their own life, that they didn't see, oh my God, this relationship is alive and I have to nurture it. So many times the partner who is left after one wants to walk away is the one most severely crippled. They're like, what do you mean? You know, you can't leave. This is ridiculous. We can work this out. And then they may start getting clingy. Then all of a sudden they want to work things out. But it won't matter because the partner who's going to walk away is the one who has basically said, this relationship, I can't continue because I need an emotional partner. This is not good for me. I don't feel well. I feel depressed. I feel anxious. And I just know that the relationship is no longer able to sustain me or my children or my partner. And so they decide that they're going to leave. So you might say, well, what would cause this? What causes this is years of not confronting issues, years of not listening to each other, years of not being there for each other, feeling abandoned in the relationship, so much so that you became so lonely. If you're going to bed alone every night, your partner's still in the house, but they're not with you, you're eating all your meals alone, there's no communication about what you're going to do, there's no enthusiasm anymore, then you can see how this could turn into a total emotional divorce, where one partner's answer would finally be, I gotta get out. And at that point, everything can change. I think what's important for you to understand though, is when you say that, like when you say, I can't take this anymore, or you make the physical motion of walking out and divorcing, that doesn't mean that the marriage is going to be over. That does mean that there is a clear message that there is an emotional break, an emotional divorce, if you will. And in order for that to heal, the two of you would need to get reinvested in the relationship. So these are the strategies I think you should do if you're in this situation, whether you're the one left, or the one who's going to walk out. It's important you consider this. First of all, a true recognition of what's going on. You have to be authentic and you have to be honest with yourself. What is this marriage? Like, what does it contain? Are we just staying together till the kids go to school? Are we just staying together because we have such a long history? What is my part in this? Where have I let my partner down? Did I stop sharing with them? Did I stop being present? Was I no longer invested, putting effort into it? Was I so tired with work and other things I prioritized instead of the marriage that I just didn't have any strength to do my part of it? Secondly, I think it's very important that you control your feelings, because in this stage, when you're going through the recognition, you may feel resentful, you may feel angry. And what's most important is that you understand your partner is not entirely to blame. You're to blame for some of this because you either enabled it, you went along with it, you didn't stand up for the relationship, you weren't a voice for the marriage, or you allowed it to happen. I mean, either way, you need to control what you're feeling inside. You need to make a peace with it, and you're going to need to get help. So the third thing is consult a counselor. Whether it's just one person or the couple, it's important you go to therapy because the therapist can help clear up a lot of stuff, and they also can help guide you into what will be best for the resolution. Because let's face it, even if the two of you divorce over this emotional divorce, then the kids, how you communicate co-parenting is going to be everything. It's 10 times harder after you get a divorce to make sure those kiddos are raised with two loving parents. So no matter what, the therapist is key. Number 4, take time for self-care. You're going to need to start nurturing you, to reinvest in you, because you probably lost some of your own self-esteem, some of your own interests. You probably are lost a little bit too. And that's an important point in regaining any semblance of, could this marriage make it? Could we work it out? Or will we have to let it go? Define and uphold your boundaries. What are your boundaries? If you're going to get back together, was there unfaithfulness? Was there just something the two of you could not come together? Was it a financial issue? Was it a house issue? What was the situation? Uphold your boundaries, what you will and won't tolerate if you're going to work the marriage out. And I think lastly, it's really important that you talk to your partner and that you lay this all out on the table with everything that you've done, your responsibilities, where you feel you failed the marriage. And if both people are able to do that, I have seen some of these marriages revitalize, like come together in a new way, especially when they have a counselor. If not, if the emotion is so dead that you're now indifferent, then this emotional divorce will have to, for sure, lead to a physical one. And at that point, no matter what happens, you're always going to be better off if you got counseling, so you have the skills to at least communicate about what this household represented, countering any children, how you're going to co-parent, as well as how you're going to heal and move forward. It's much better if you can heal after a divorce that was sad rather than after a divorce that was hurtful and vengeful. So therapy is key.